homeowners than any of our services.
Right now at Safe Factory Outlet at American Fork, save up to $700 off on select new Liberty safes. There's never been a better time to own a safe than now. Protect your valuables with a new Liberty safe from Safe Factory Outlet at American Fork.
It's Citizen Hughes here. Ask any contractor. Tracking key performance indicators like close rate and ticket size, it's always been a challenge. Improving KPI, it's even harder. Well, Service Titan is here to change all of that. The most successful contractors are using Service Titan's powerful all-in-one software that connects the dots in real time to give you a crystal clear picture of your business, from cost to revenue to employees' effectiveness and even more. Service Titan, it's the technology partner that you need. Schedule your demo today at ServiceTitan.com. That's ServiceTitan.com.
Is your prostate secretly being destroyed without you knowing it? All the ads for these prostate pills like Super Beta Prostate, Saw Palmetto, ProstaStream, Prostagenics, and others want to know which pills work and which are garbage. Now you can. Get a free copy of the new guide, Prostate Secrets, that pulls back the curtain on the prostate pill industry. Learn what is really in these pills. Which pill has over 987 adverse event reports filed against it with the FDA. It's shocking. Learn the one food to avoid that is a prostate killer, and discover the 3 so-called health foods that destroy your prostate. Get your free copy at prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com. This free guide will show you how to end your prostate problems without drugs or surgery. 5 important things to do to protect your prostate, and much more. Warning, this guide is commercial and may be offensive to readers as it pulls no punches. So go to prostatesecrets.com. Prostatesecrets.com. That's prostatesecrets.com.
PC Laptops computers are $11.99 or $29 a month. PCLaptops.com.
Radio is easy to use for music and radio. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
Every day, Sean Hannity is on.
25 to the top of the hour. Your call straight ahead, 800-941-SEAN. Phoenix Capital Group inviting you to invest in the heart of America, support energy independence, and what they're doing is connecting private investors like you with investments in what are real tangible, especially on the state level, oil and gas assets. Now, investing in these U.S.-backed securities right now, we can gain up to 8 to 12% annual interest with monthly payments. And it is a vote of confidence clearly in the American dream, which was the backbone to build this great nation. Anyway, to find out more, you can sign up, do your due diligence, get a free webinar when you go to Phoenix. It's on Hannity.com. PhoenixOnHannity.com. Remember, before making any investment decision, you always got to carefully consider, review any and all risk involved. But they will show you how they're showing people how to diversify their portfolio, earn 8 to 12% annual interest with Phoenix Capital Group. The educational webinar that will educate you is free to attend. Anyway, learn more and just go to PhoenixOnHannity.com. PhoenixOnHannity.com. Now, look, if these companies don't want to learn the lesson from Budweiser and Bud Light, have at it. But it just keeps happening, and I'm just sitting here scratching my head. Okay, I would imagine that if you're in the candy business, you want to sell as much candy as possible. Linda, you like candy, but you don't eat candy like me, right?
I love candy.
You love candy. Even to this day in your studio, you have candy, correct?
I have a reserve. This is a very true statement.
In case you're having a bad day, not caused by me. Nothing to do with it.
Potentially. Very rarely is it caused by you.
So Skittles is now the latest company getting pushback. Many people have soured on the popular candy. Skittles, to me, the texture is kind of cool, but it's like just a handful of sugar. I just don't want that crap in my body. Anyway, but they have new packaging, LGBTQ plus packaging, which says pride, etc., rainbows all over the place. Anyway, so they've gone completely woke. Okay, now they're getting pushback and people saying it's all over the place to boycott Skittles. And by Saturday night, the first post went up and was seen almost instantaneously by nearly 2 million people. Anyway, the backlash ensued after their title company, which is Wrigley, which in turn is owned by Mars. They swapped their rainbow-colored package for new LGBTQ plus friendly illustrations and messages. Not sure why they doubled down on it, but they did. And this new package features colorful illustration on the black and white background and include phrases like Black trans lives matter and joy is resistance. Okay, look, if they're targeting one specific market, and, that's fine. And hopefully, this is going to be a profitable endeavor for them. No problem. But they have the freedom to do that. And when people that by the way, have reacted very negatively to politics with products are going to end up boycotting you, don't be surprised what the consequences are, because they're probably it's going to be an expensive decision on your part.
And just remember, one other fine point that I think a lot of these companies need to pay attention to is it's back to school season. We're about a month and change out from Halloween. I mean, if you're in any store right now, all you see is back to school, school supplies, and Halloween. So I'm like, you're deciding to make a statement about this when people are buying snacks for lunches and people are buying snacks for Halloween. Did the thing with the green M&M. Remember they took her out of high heels and they gave her Adidas shell tops or whatever. I'm like, why? Who is that? When I eat a green M&M, is that going to empower me?
I mean, do you wear high heels? Last time I checked.
Not only do I wear high heels, I wear shell tops. I love Adidas shell tops. I got about 10 pairs of them. They're my favorite sneaker. You know how many times I've worn them since they did that? 0. It sucks. You have to make a stand with your dollar. Bottom line.
Hear about this lady who had what she's calling a bad moment on a plane, marketing exec, Texas, demanding that she be let off her American Airlines flight from Dallas to Orlando before takeoff, running up and down the aisle. I'm telling you, I'm getting the F off this plane. And there's a reason I'm getting off the plane. Everyone can either believe it or not believe it. And anyway, very visibly distressed, saying that there's mother effort back there and is not real, pointing to the back of the plane, causing confusion over who she was concerned about. You can sit on this plane, you can die with them or not. I'm not going to. Anyway, she was allowed to leave the plane before it took off, and anyway, it was posted on X, formerly known as Twitter. Does everyone have to change their name all the time?
I have decided I am now calling it Twitter regardless of its name, just so you know.
Anyway, first and foremost, she said, I wanted to take full accountability for my actions. They were completely unacceptable. Distressed or not, I should have been in control of my emotions, and I was not. She must have seen somebody over there she didn't like or something.
I don't know. That whole story is very, very strange. It took them like 8 weeks to find her, and the person in the video giving the apology looks nothing like the person in the pictures on the dang plane. The whole thing is weird. I don't know. I'm not sure what the story's about.
Oh, man. Lionel Richie fans, apparently an hour after the show starts, he's supposed to appear with Earth, Wind, and Fire, I guess, at Madison Square Garden this weekend. Anyway, abandons the show. Fans were already in their seats waiting for the performance, blaming it on severe weather, meaning he couldn't land in New York. And anyway, he had been performing his, sing-a-song all night long tour in Boston the night before, 4-hour drive from New York City. And instead of an apology, he just said he was bummed he could be there, and due to severe weather and being unable to land in New York's surrounding areas, I'm unable to make the show tonight. I'm so bummed. We'll reschedule it. People already in their seats. I mean, that would really piss me off. It really would.
But wait, so the story is he couldn't get there because of weather?
Yeah, which makes no sense because people have been seated for an hour.
That's very, very strange. I mean, if you're going to have a weather problem, you would have been there long before that.
How do I think there's more to the story?
There's always more to the story.
All right, 800-941-SEAN on number. You want to be a part of the program. Bob, Long Island, New York, next on the all-new AM 710 WOR. What's going on?
Hey, Sean, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
Great. I just want to thank you for everything you do, number one. And number two, our prayers go out to the people of Maui. It was a great conversation you had about Afghanistan. Just my thoughts on Afghanistan real quick, which was the downfall of the United States on the world stage right there. That started it, in my opinion. And how we could really get a message out there. People don't listen to politicians. Well, how we get out there is a guy like Trump who can raise money and bring along all the 13 people, the parents of these fallen soldiers, and tell their stories. Because they know it like it is, I can guarantee it. They know more than anybody else does about, what really went down in Afghanistan.
It's sad. I mean, when you really think about it, it's just awful.
It's terrible. I mean,
and we abandon our.
then you know, when they get up and they give them a little time to, you know, leave their hearts out, but they have a lot to say. And I guarantee you, people in this country want to hear it from them.
I had this confirmed numerous times. When Donald Trump was, before he even started any negotiation about a potential pullout, which, you know, he'd been very clear he didn't want to remain in these long, protracted, expensive foreign conflicts any longer as president. And he called the leader of the Taliban. And remember, the last 18 months he was president, not a single American was killed. Not one.
Exactly.
And he was, and this has been corroborated by numerous people, said to the head of the Taliban, let me be very clear before we talk about anything involving a withdrawal. Well, first of all, he was going to keep Bagram Air Base, which would have been strategically very smart to keep, and that would have been ours, what should have been. We built it. Secondly, he said, let me be clear, if one American gets hurt, or if you move one iota from where you are, while I'm engaged in this pullout, if we have one, I will eviscerate you as badly as I did the Caliphate. And I've been told by numerous people that he literally sent over, I'm not sure the means of communication, fax, text, whatever, email, the exact location of where the head of the Taliban was at the moment they were having that phone call. I think that sends a pretty clear message. I could take your ass out right now.
That's right. And a guy like Kash Patel was right there when he did it all. He knows it. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty fascinating, right?
No, I know your time is short. Real on the air, real quick. Another thought on this appointee of Weiss being the head of the investigation now on Hunter Biden. The problem is that we're having is the Republicans are giving the Democrats too much time. Now that this has happened, that was the final straw. What they have to do is go right from inquiry to impeachment of not only Joe Biden, but also Merrick Garland, to tie them up in court, tie them up in impeachment hearings, to give them more problems to worry about, because they have too much time, too much resource to go after Trump and try to take him out. And bottom line, all Trump has to do to push off a lot, and I'm not a scholar, all he has to do is have all his lawyers put together a tremendous amount of discovery, and I think you follow me on that, and put it out there to the court. They'll have to postpone that for a year.
I'm not sure that, look, I mean, we had Roger Stone on. Look at Roger Stone's case.
Yeah, I love that guy.
All right, so he had a pre-dawn raid at his house, frogmen, CNN cameras, you know, guns drawn, and he was literally, the gag order was so prohibitive during the trial and after the trial. After he's found guilty, first they say, well, we don't want to prejudice the jury pool. But they took away any ability for him to even go on any social media platform, any radio show, any TV show and say, I'm innocent. That would be freedom of speech. That should not be stifled by any judge in any jurisdiction at any time. And, you know, it's just pretty simple. But, you know, that's not the way it's going to work. I'm telling you right now, I don't see a fair trial opportunity for President Trump in New York, in D.C., or in Fulton County, Georgia, where they leaked earlier today and then removed to document about the charges, potential charges of Donald Trump. Not good on their part. And why do I believe that was probably an accurate, whether or not the grand jury actually voted on it, we don't know. Appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you. 800-941-SEAN if you want to be a part of the program. Let us say hello to JT is in Alabama. What's up, JT? How are you?
Hello, Sean. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. What part of Alabama are you in?
I'm in Ozark.
Oh, I know exactly where you are. What's going on?
Oh, good. I faithfully watch you every 8 o'clock at night. My wife knows I'm coming in the house, and she knows what station to put it on. And I got to say, thank you for opening your series every night with attack on Biden.
Well, by the way, 8 o'clock Central Time, just for those people, because everyone hears me say 9 Eastern.
Yeah, anyway. For you, that's right. That's right. We're an hour behind. One thing you're missing, though, And I wanted to talk about Devin Archer's phone calls to, Hunter's phone calls to his dad. You're a pretty busy guy in your job. I know when I had my own salesman and I had my own business, I was a very busy person from 8 in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. They'll reports, their speeches, whatever. You're taking people out to dinner. How many times friends or family called you where you said, I can't take that call, I'm in the middle of a meeting?
It happens all day long. I mean, while I'm doing my radio show, I have people call me all the time, and I just get sorry I can't talk now on air. That's all right.
I know with my family, my children, I bet you 50% of the time they called me when I was a salesman, I said, I can't take the call. Let me call you back later. What you're missing is his son called his dad 20 times, and every time he answered the call. Now, he was the vice president of the United States. Got to be the second most busiest job in the world. But, the president is obviously the busiest. You've got to be on call nonstop, and that was when he had a brain, when he was vice president. You're telling me his son called him 20 times, and he took the call and answered the phone call and talked to the people. That's telling me
But remember, Joe never discussed the foreign business deals with either his son, brother, or anybody for that matter. Joe said he never met with his son's business partners. Joe said that the family never got money from China. Joe said that Hunter Biden has done nothing wrong. Well, he didn't have any experience. He was a drug addict at the time. What did he offer these companies for these millions?
I understand that, but you're missing this. These calls had to be pre-planned. He had the call. He didn't call him 20 times. He called him 40 times, 60 times, saying, Dad, I'm going to call you up at this time of day, on this day. You be ready, and you'll be alone in a room because we don't want any witnesses. You talking to me and talking to these people, and you take the call because you're going to be the closer. It's going to be worth $10 million to the family or $3 million or whatever it is.
I don't think he got that deep in the weeds, but he knew exactly what he was doing. He definitely was the closer. Remember Burisma? Burisma was very clear. They needed D.C. help, and Joe gave it to them. And they got the prosecutor fired. All right, folks, as students begin headed back to school, hey, you think they're going to be learning about our founding principles, that which made America the greatest country God ever gave man in history? Will they learn about inalienable rights, that they're God-given natural rights? Rights don't come from government? Are they going to be given a full and honest account of our nation's history? Well, the answer to all these questions is yes for students at Hillsdale College. And by the way, now, these days, in addition to teaching college students, Hillsdale has now extended their teaching to K-12 students and lifelong learners just like you and me. If you're not already doing so, one of the best ways to start learning from my friends at Hillsdale is through Imprimis. Now, that is Hillsdale's speech digest. It's absolutely free. It's a digest of liberty. You can sign up for free at the special website. We have made it just for you, SeanForHillsdale.com. That's SeanFor Hillsdale.com. You're going to love it. I look forward to Imprimis every month. You will as well. It is interesting, useful, free, and you get the best and smartest in conservative and constitutionalist thought, period. Anyway, to find out more, go to the website, get Imprimis at SeanForHillsdale.com. That's SeanFor Hillsdale.com.
Each and every day, Hannity's got something new. Sean Hannity is on right now.
It drives me up the wall. What drives him up the wall drives you home.
Let's get offensive right off the bat.
Jesse Kelly's Radio Road Rage on Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS.
Watch parties aren't what they used to be.
Welcome to today's matinee.
Ever since we got Xfinity, my little sister and her friends can easily stream all their favorite stuff.
We'll start with 2 episodes of Top Chef, then Chopped.
When I was a kid, we'd worry about buffering. Now they just worry about what's on the charcuterie board.
Enjoy these fine meats and cheeses.
These are just cut up hot dogs and spray cheese.
Indeed.
The best way to stream your favorites is on the Xfinity 10G network. Now through September 6th, new customers can get 1.2 gig internet on the Xfinity 10G network made for streaming for just And you get Wi-Fi equipment included. Plus, add Now TV for just $20 a month. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires Payroll and auto stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. Now TV and Xfinity Mobile require Xfinity Internet. After promo, regular provided internet service and Wi-Fi equipment. Actual speeds vary. Stream Top Chef on Peacock.
Come celebrate Camping Adventure with Motorsportsland during our 55-year anniversary celebration. Save thousands with better than show pricing on all inventory. We have over 100 new RVs at used RV pricing. We've even arranged special anniversary financing rates. Check us out on social media for giveaways, flash deals, and more. Hurry in today and let Motorsportsland help you get away. Let Motorsportsland help you get away. Motorsportsland.com.
Here, in the dog days of summer.
It's relentless. He really happened to feel these storms.
So many are suffering.
I try to stay out of it and won't go to the trees.
For just minutes a day, you can get the information you need. News, traffic, weather.
It was too high for us right now.
You'll get through the dog days together.
Talk Radio 1059, KNRS. Hi, I'm Jody Wilkinson. You'll love the pre-owned vehicles from Jody Wilkinson Acura. Currently, we have a great selection of used cars under $20,000. Downtown, 1111 South Main. We're Anheuser-Busch. There are 65,000 people who help bring every one of our leaders to life. I grow the pies. We malt the barley. And I brew the beer. I bottle the beer.
I label the beer.
I pack the beer.
I make sure the beer keeps cold.
I make sure the beer keeps fresh.
And I make sure the beer keeps coming.
We're Anheuser-Busch. That's who we are. Enjoy responsibly. 2023 Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Russian officials recently revealed a new global supercurrency backed by physical gold will be announced on August 22nd with support from China, India, and other countries. Many economists warn this could radically change the world economy and possibly destroy the value of the dollar. And that means the value of your 401k or IRA is at risk. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to urge you to protect yourself and your family right now. How? By diversifying your 401k or IRA into physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word HEDGE to 989898. August 22nd will be here before you know it. So take action today. Fortify your nest egg using the power of gold inside of a tax advantage account. Text HEDGE to the number 989898. That's HEDGE, H-E-D-G-E, to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs right now.
Listen, and you'll know. The Sean Hannity Show continues on Talk Radio 1059, KNRS.
Right, that's going to wrap things up for today. Hannity tonight, set your DVR, 9 Eastern, Fox News, Shocker. Once again, we are on full complete, let's see, Donald Trump indictment watch. Ted Cruz, Greg Jarrett, Matt Whitaker, Alan Dershowitz, Paul Manafort tonight, Newt Gingrich, Stephen Miller, and much, much more. Set your DVR Monday through Friday, 9 Eastern on the Fox News channel. We'll see you tonight, back here tomorrow. Thank you for making this show possible.
Now, it's all making sense. Earlier this year, gold bubbled around $1,800 an ounce. But then the banks crashed. The president proposed a $4.7 trillion tax hike, and the Federal Reserve quietly started working on a digital dollar. But Americans did not like that, which is why gold shot past $2,000 and could even spike to $2,500. The economy's going down, the dollar's going down, and gold's going up fast. And right now could be your last opportunity to protect your wealth. So write this down, because you'll not only get the chance to protect your retirement savings with gold and silver, you could get up to $10,000 in free silver from Sean Hannity's partner, Goldco. Heard that right, $10,000 in free silver from Goldco when you call 855-815-GOLD. So don't miss what could be your best opportunity to protect your retirement savings today. Call 855-815-GOLD.
That's 855-815-GOLD.
New road striping project now expanding to multiple Utah counties. Those details coming up on KRS News.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Do current events in this country and around the world have you worried about the future of the economy and how it's going to affect your money, your investments? Are you in fear of not having enough for retirement? Well, you don't have a group of people who enjoy tremendous peace when it comes to financial, even in times like these. They are the clients of Selke Financial Group. I've had the opportunity to meet the president, Jeff, and I'm telling you, any concerns at all about your retirement plan, give him a call right now, and he will send you his retirement checklist at no cost and also offer a complimentary review of your current financial plan. Jeff Selke is a financial fiduciary who's been helping people secure their financial futures for over 2 decades. So tap into his expertise. Call now, 877-488-4456, 877-488-4456, or online at SafeMoneyCounselor.com.
KNRS FM Centerville, KNRS Salt Lake City. Sponsored by Two Brothers Mattress. When you think Tempur-Pedic, think Two Brothers Mattress.
KNRS News, sponsored by Movies Inn. I'm Eddie Bonnell. It's 4 o'clock. New at this hour, the suspect killed in a provoked shooting pointed a gun at agents attempting to take him into custody. That's according to the FBI, who says 75-year-old Craig Robinson resisted arrest after agents showed up at his home last week in connection with reported online threats made against President Biden and other law enforcement before the president's visit to Utah last Friday. FEMA is seeking to help residents from wildfire-ravaged Lahaina in Maui as the recovery process continues. FEMA Operations Division Director Jeremy Greenberg saying they'll provide survivors with hotel rooms as the search goes on as they seek new shelter.
There's like tarps and furring strips and nails and construction supplies that are necessary to start sealing in the homes that are still standing but may have lost siding or roof shingles, because we don't want to lose that house now to water damage.
The death toll is now close to 100 and expected to rise dramatically, according to Hawaii's Governor Josh Green. Also developing right now a fake Utah doctor who's accused of selling a bogus cure for COVID-19 before going on the lam for 3 years, now in custody. Federal agents arresting 63-year-old Gordon Pedersen in Utah County. He faces multiple charges, including fraud. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, Pedersen sold the fake product over the internet, claiming it treated many other diseases, including arthritis and pneumonia. He's expected to make his first court appearance tomorrow afternoon. KNRS News at the top and bottom of the hour, anytime at KNRS.com.
This traffic report is brought to you by Performance Honda Bountiful Traffic Operations Center.
Well, Davis County happens to have a few accidents right now they are working on. One I-15 southbound right after Layton Parkway, the other southbound at Antelope Drive on I-15, and lastly, northbound just after North Clearfield. Looking into North Murray, there is a wreck on 53rd southwestbound at 480 West.
This report is sponsored by Colonel Seasons, available at Walmart.
Colonel Seasons adds interesting to popcorn and golf.
Morton approaches with a bowl of popcorn. He's going for the peanut cheddar. I've only seen white cheddar in a course like this. Nifty rascal.
Colonel Seasons.
Visit your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer today and discover the SUV that's right for you.
Hot temperatures are in the forecast for the Wasatch Front this week. Highs today in the mid-90s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 96 for your Tuesday. Could see a stray thunderstorm around Utah County. Partly cloudy on Wednesday, 97 degrees, and near 100 by Thursday. I'm meteorologist Chase Thomason for KUTV 2 News.
Arquette here from Generator Super Center, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Don't get left in the dark during a power loss. Call Generator Super Center for a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator. 801-882-9222.
questions to make you think. Filling in for Rod today, Craig Hughes.
State school superintendent, used to be a history teacher, a guy that just tells it how it is. He calls balls and strikes. He talks about education in ways that many of us would recognize, actually. And he's going to be a great, we're going to have a great discussion with him in this hour. We're going to talk about some other things going on in education. Parents have had enough. It's not a Republican thing. It's not a conservative thing. Parents are watching what's happening inside their schools, and they're getting more and more involved because what's happening is disturbing. We're going to talk about something I read in the LA Times this weekend, and you know what? That's not a Republican bastion. It's not even these aren't Republican school districts, and you're seeing some pushback that the left would like you to believe is just some experiment by Republicans or something that Republicans are trying to do to win seats, and it's something political and it's bullying. Nope, it's not. We're going to get into that again later in the program. We're also going to look at all of the good things going on in Chicago. If I had to have a weather vane and I had to think what is good about America, I would just look to Chicago and say whatever they're doing, we should do. Not. Okay, so again, we had a rough weekend. We're going to talk about the numbers of what happened in Chicago over the weekend. And when I say numbers, I'm talking shootings in the place that has more restrictions on guns than you'll find anywhere else in America. They had 23 of them, but we'll get into that and some of the narratives and commentary that go along with it. We also had a landmark case out of Montana in a federal court today I'm going to dive into that says this federal judge in Montana, you know, that real smog polluted metropolitan area of Montana, this judge has ruled that they have to take into consideration the health effects for young people in Montana over climate change and the open-ended definition of what it means to be healthy because of all the detrimental impact on climate change. It's a ruling that could have a real ripple effect across the country. It just came out today. Again, one of my spy networks, I got an app for the New York Times, and I got that headline today. They were just celebrating. The New York Times were on that decision. We'll talk about that as well. I'm going to talk about a lot going on in Iowa this weekend. All the presidential candidates are marching into Iowa for their state fair. Lots of activities. There's airplanes flying up in the sky with messages going on for certain candidates from other candidates or their supporters. We're at a great moment where Kari Lake, while not a presidential candidate, she was at the Iowa State Fair, and she was milking a cow, and she had a message for some of the regime media as she was milking the cow. It was beautiful. We'll get into that. It was a very good moment, I think, in Iowa, and one we can share on the program. I think it's family friendly enough. Also, I want to try to figure out this Mike Pence thing. He had a couple things to say over the weekend. He's having trouble, folks, getting traction. I mean, he just announced that he is qualified. They have some rules to get into this debate that's coming up. And one of them is you have to raise money from 20 states. There's a certain amount of money you have to raise. And you have to have some kind of percentage threshold of support to qualify for their debate of what you would call the mainstream or the most recognizable presidential candidates. Mike Pence was having the most difficult time qualifying for that. Vivek Ramaswamy made it before he did, got through the gate before he did. He's a young guy out of Ohio, who I quite like. You had them all. You had everybody that was, I say everybody, you have DeSantis, you have Nikki Haley, you had and you had all of them that were kind of through the gate, ready to go, but Pence was having a hard time. We're going to get into that. There's, again, a couple stories that I'm going to try to figure out Mike Pence. I got to meet him once when he was in 2016, when he was President Trump's running mate, and I'm going to get into that. I think that's an important candidate to try and figure out. It was odd that he was having such a difficult time qualifying. Or is it odd? That's what we'll talk about. We've got a lot more on the program that we're going to talk about as well. What I'm going to do on the program over today and over the next couple days is I'm going to show you best practices, worst practices. There's a lot of things, folks, that happen in California where you would just like to relegate that to that state. That'll never come our way. But I got to tell you, being a bellwether for some of the worst things that are going on, you'll watch it in California one year, and within a couple years, you'll see it arriving, whether it's the people themselves fleeing that state after what they did, coming to our state, or even just the narratives start to become more comfortable as they're repeated over and over again by the regime media. And you start to see the things that are happening in California coming right into our own neighborhoods and in our schools and in our communities. And so I'm going to stare at California quite a bit over the next 3 days, and we're going to talk about some of the things going on in California that we're seeing probably a lot of evidence of right now. We're seeing a lot of the things that are happening. When I say things happening, I'm talking about the abject failures happening in California, in Los Angeles. That's the only way you can describe it. And if you think it's gonna start there and stop there in California, you would be mistaken. I think it's coming right our way. So we're gonna talk about that too. We've got a lot to go over. I got a stack of stuff. I don't want to start into any of them right now because we're going to come to a break soon enough. But let me just finish my point real quickly on California. When I was a kid, we had these kids. In my church, we had some kids from California come. This is anecdotal. This is kind of this is a bellwether. I learned this early. These kids came from California, and I must have been like 7th grade. And they were saying, what kind of jeans do you wear? I said, I don't know, I wear Levi's. And they said, are they 501s? I had never heard the number 501 next to the, said with Levi's ever before up to that point in my life. I said, 501s, what's that? They're like, button-fly jeans. Do you have button-fly jeans? And I remember I looked at my friends and we thought, these blonde-haired kids from California, and I thought, who in the world would ever button the fly of their jeans instead of the zipper? That sounds like the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. And we just laughed at them. We thought that was just insane. We just thought that was just crazy. Well, I am here to tell you that everything in California comes our way at some point. In Pittsburgh, at some point, a couple years later, we had button-fly jeans everywhere. I mean, it was there first. High-top Vans. I got my first high-top Vans in 9th grade visiting my uncle in California, and no one had ever heard of high-top Vans before, and here they come. That's clothing. I wish it ended with just the clothing, but it doesn't. It just goes on and on, especially their public policy. That stuff just keeps coming at us over and over and over again. And so I'm going to take the breaking news over this weekend, stuff that's happening in California real time. It'll sound familiar, but we're going to talk about it because it keeps happening and it's growing. And then we're going to draw those correlations to Utah and the whole rest of the country. When we come back, we are going to be speaking with Ryan Peters. He is the Oklahoma State School Superintendent, used to be a history teacher, wrote a powerful article that I read today on. It was published in The Hill. You've seen that publication, and talks about the title of the article is "Teach Truth, Not Racism, to the Next Generation of Americans." We're going to have Mr. Ryan Peters on the program when we come back after this break, so you're going to want to hang on. You're listening to Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS.
Listeners headlines. I'm Abby Bonneau. An update following the tragic death of a 3-year-old Salt Lake City boy in a Summit County boating accident. And the FBI says a suspect pointed a gun at agents before he was fatally shot at his Provo home. Those details coming up in 15 minutes.
From the Durden's Appliance and Mattress Traffic Operations Center.
I'm seeing considerable backups on I-215 southbound at Redwood Road on the east belt due to a fender bender. I-15 southbound has a few wrecks you want to keep an eye out for. One at 45th South, another after Layton Parkway, and lastly at Antelope Drive. Northbound I-15, they're clearing an earlier wreck after North Clearfield. This report is sponsored by Maverick.
When you pay with Maverick's Nitro card, you always save 10 cents or more on fuel every gallon, every day. And you could save a whole lot more thanks to Nitro Best Price. Pick up a Nitro card and upgrade your Adventure Club account today. Maverick. Adventure's first stop.
Get ready to win your way to our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival and $1,000.
You'll be there.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
September 22nd and 23rd.
Streaming live only on
The
Hulu.
iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Powered by JBR Clinical Research.
Do you need your bunion removed? JBR Clinical Research is currently conducting a clinical research study for an investigational pain medication given after bunion surgery. To participate, call 801-261-2000 or apply online at jbrclinicalresearch.com.
What a year it has been for Ruby's Inn there at the entrance of Bryce Canyon National Park. You know, the park this year is celebrating its 100th anniversary. Now, what a spectacular place to go. Now, summer is coming to an end. Maybe you just want to get away for a few days. Why not head to Ruby's Inn right at the entrance of Bryce Canyon National Park? It's only about a 4-hour drive from Salt Lake City, and it is spectacular. And Ruby's Inn, it is the perfect place to base your exploration of this absolutely beautiful area. They offer the finest in accommodations, RV park, campground, and amenities in the Bryce Canyon region. Ruby's Inn at Bryce Canyon is also a destination in and of itself. You'll enjoy horseback riding, mountain biking, guided ATV rides, and helicopter tours, along with Western experiences such as rodeos, and a great meal and entertainment at Ebenezer's Grill. Why not find out more? Check it out today. All you do is have to go to rubysin.com. That's rubysin.com.
Disney Price, policy, terms, and conditions, policy, text, plan.us, state rules for recurring liability, text, market, messages, messaging, data rates, may apply, or play, stop.
My drinking had become a problem. Too many nights waking up at 3 a.m., sweating, head pounding, self-loathing, and anxiety hitting me hard. Thinking, how did I do this again? What's wrong with me? Why can't I stop? If you're finally ready to stop drinking completely, or just want to drink less, naltrexone could help you. Naltrexone is an FDA-approved medication that reduces cravings and pleasure from drinking, making it easier to drink less or quit alcohol altogether, and you can see improvement almost immediately. Whether your challenges with alcohol are mild, moderate, or severe, or health makes it simple to get started with treatment, just text PROMISE to 323232 to get a secure link to our private online assessment. One of our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it directly online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your front door. No doctor's office visits required. You really can stop drinking or just drink less. Text PROMISE to 323232 to get started today. Text the word PROMISE to 323232. Text PROMISE to 323232.
It's been a crazy weather year all over Utah. Massive hailstorm in Tooele, West Jordan, and lots of other places. Record snow and ice damaging roofs and property in Park City, Heber, and more. When graded ice or hail damage your roof, don't hire the first 10 knocks on your door. Call the roofing and damage experts at RoofTech. We work with all major insurance companies and will never cut a corner on quality to make an extra dollar. RoofTech always installs the very best roof for your money. Let us give you an estimate for roofing or insurance claim for free. Just dial pound 250 now and say RoofTech. That's pound 250 RoofTech.
Russian officials recently revealed a new global supercurrency backed by physical gold will be announced on August 22nd with support from China, India, and other countries. Many economists warn this could radically change the world economy and possibly destroy the value of the dollar. And that means the value of your 401k or IRA is at risk. Hi, Stephen K. Bannon. I want to urge you to protect yourself and your family right now. How? by diversifying your 401k or IRA into physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. To see how it works, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word HEDGE to 98989. August 22nd will be here before you know it. So take action today. Fortify your nest egg using the power of gold inside of a tax advantage account. Text HEDGE to the number 989898. That's HEDGE, H-E-D-G-E, to 989898 to get your free info kit on gold IRAs right now.
Hello, I'm Dr. Tony Evans, and I'm excited to have you join me on this new podcast, Heroes in the Bible.
Come to me, boy. You and your God will crumble beneath my feet.
He beckoned the giant and said,
I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts and creator of the stars.
Listen to Heroes in the Bible with Dr. Tony Evans on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Crazy as we began to uncover more and more indoctrination, more and more of these schemes, what our kids are facing today, and frankly, it scares parents and grandparents to death what's going on in their kids' schools.
You know, I ran for governor, as mentioned in that in the intro in 20, and I'm going to tell you without exception, and I've been a state lawmaker for a long time, but I was unprepared for every single meeting that I held. Parents and grandparents raising their hand and expressing concern over the curriculum that their children or grandchildren were being taught. Maybe you could share, because you were a history teacher, so you were in the heart of it, especially civics education. What is being taught in our schools that you have argued so well is anathema to this country and all that it stands for? What's happening out there?
Yeah. About 10 years. I was one of our State Teacher of the Year finalists here a few years ago. And what I began to see is when I first started teaching, I noticed what so many parents have illustrated is we're not talking about the founding era. We're not using primary documents to talk about the Constitution or Federalist Papers. So our kids don't have that grounding, those principles. And as time went on, I was literally at a conference once where the presenters, two history teachers, said, hey, look, you probably shouldn't talk a lot about the Declaration and Thomas Jefferson because they were slave owners. And the more that you emphasize this being positive, the more that you're reinforcing slavery. And I go, hold on, guys, you don't think that you should tell your students about the Declaration of Independence, the document that forever changes world history, this monumental moment? Like, how do you understand the Constitution? How do you understand why you had a Revolutionary War? How do you understand this stuff if you don't understand the concepts? And it is about individual liberty. It is about the fact that, by the way, where do those freedoms come? They're endowed by our Creator. They wanted no mention of faith. They thought that was wrong to talk about faith or any kind of Judeo-biblical principles. And so we've seen this being pushed into our schools. That's been eliminated. And then the push has become, hey, everything is enshrined by slavery. That's the true principle our country was founded on. The country is wrong in every way. Typical family traditions are wrong. And so what this is it's really an assault on our founding principles, and it is an attempt to dramatically and completely change America to its societal core. It's an attack on our schools, our traditions, our family, and frankly, our faith.
We're speaking with Oklahoma State School Superintendent Ryan Peters, a former history teacher, wrote an article in The Hill about this topic. So, Superintendent, let me ask you this. So, that's what you're not supposed to teach. But I think this self-determination, this upwardly mobile, this experiment called America, where we get to, by our self-determination, not equal outcome, but equal opportunity, get to achieve or not, based on our goals, how much we put into it. Is it the case that I guess the consensus in education, or some of this wave that's coming into our schools, is that everything you would do, anything you would try to self-determine, has nothing to do with your fate in America? It is only based on the color of your skin or nation of origin. Is that what they're actually trying to push on our kids?
That's right, and that's where this gets so dangerous. It is Marxist. It is, we want to do with what the Marxists believe in class warfare, and we want to do that with race, we want to do it with ethnicity. What we want are groups, or individuals defining themselves as groups. And what happens is you create victims and oppressors, and what occurs is you take out of a child's hands one of the most wonderful aspects of an education system, which is empowerment, which is the belief that you as a child are capable of greatness. So much of what made this country great was that belief, like you said, Greg, so well, self-determination. Individuals are capable of greatness. We believe that. Yes. We believe that people are individually created wonderfully by a creator, that are unique and have talents, and that those should be explored. And if individuals are capable of greatness, they're also capable of really bad things. And that's where, again, you hear the left try to attack conservatives. We only want part of history taught. No, we don't. I don't know a single conservative that believes that. Conservatives want the history of this country taught about what are our core principles, what makes America great. Now, we want to emphasize that those principles are what made us great. By the way, that also means you talk about the times we haven't lived up to those principles, because that's an important lesson as well, right? Because we always want to be the country that lives up to those ideals laid out in the Declaration. And so, and again, to your point, this leads to academic success. It's so powerful to tell a kid, hey, it doesn't matter where you come from, it doesn't matter who your family is, it doesn't matter if you're rich, you're poor, rural, or urban, you can make a tremendous impact on the world around you. You can achieve greatness. You are capable of these things. It's a powerful message, and this leftist ideology completely takes that away from us.
Can you believe what you just described as the American dream? Can you believe we have to reintroduce a population of our country, our young ones, to the American dream? I mean, so one of the things that you brought up in your article, there's about 6 things that Representative Chip Roy, when they passed the National Defense Authorization Act, they said, look, these schools where the servicemen and women, their kids go to these military schools, here's what you can't do. And I'm going to list them, but then I'd like you to share with our listeners what we can do so that we can have something like this that we can expect from our school districts, because it's so, for me, it's so intuitive. So you pointed out that in these schools that are the kids of servicemen and women, the military schools that these kids may attend, they cannot say that race, color, national origin, or any of it is inherently superior or inferior to any other. It says that the U.S. is not, they cannot say that the United States is fundamentally racist. They can't say that the Declaration of Independence or Constitution are fundamentally racist documents, that moral character and worth is determined by their race, color, and national origin. They can't do that. And they cannot say that any individual, by virtue of his race, is inherently racist or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. And finally, that any individual, because of his or her race, bears any responsibility for the acts committed in the past or even present by members of the individual's race, color, or natural origin. Those are things they can't do in these military schools. Superintendent, how do we get that in our school districts? I mean, this is common sense stuff. We need this. What should we do?
Okay, number one, this language that Chip Roy's outlined, we have passed this bill in Oklahoma. You need to pass a bill like this, and then you have to report. I am the head of the Department of Education here. If you're a teacher and you openly break that law, we've had a couple that have done it, then yes, we're going to keep telling kids that they're racist because of the color of their skin. Hey, we say, well, then you're not going to teach in Oklahoma. And we take the certificate away from them. And districts that push this training, we look at their accreditation status. This is a state law. You're not going to indoctrinate our kids. We won't allow it. Number one, I think in the district, you got to make clear to the leftists, the teachers union, you're not going to allow it. You will not allow it. And for the standards to support real American history based in our founding as that is the proof point. That is where everything should be judged by. This is what America is about. G.K. Chesterton said we're the only country founded on a creed. That is, you have to look at American history and its founding through the lens of the Declaration of Independence. Study the Federalist Papers. I'm going to flag this for you too. One of the things that I've seen in the classroom over the last 2 decades, we continue to not have kids read primary sources. They don't read the Declaration. They don't read the 1960s professor said about the Constitution. Well, guess what? That is how you easily indoctrinate kids. First of all, it dumbs it down, number one. Number two, you're looking at it from the lens of electives. Let me tell you, I taught 11th grade for over a decade. Kids can't understand our founding documents. It is an insult to them to believe they can't, number one. And number two, it has to be founded in that. And you know, one of the things I love to do with kids too is they would read the letters from the World War II generation back home to their wives. And you heard individuals say, I am willing to die for this country because I believe in it. I believe in it. I believe that it was destined by God for greatness because they have to educate.
Ryan Peters, we're coming up on a break, sir. I have to go. I wish I could go longer. This is so informative. I thank you so much for writing this piece in The Hill. And I'm telling you, I took notes. We're going to talk about this later in the program because you're right. You gave us the action plan. I love that Oklahoma passed this bill. Thank you for joining us, and I hope to have you on again. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate you very much. Thank you.
That was Ryan Peters. He's the Oklahoma State School Superintendent. We're going to stay on this topic of public education. I want to talk about some of the things that was discussed, plus some other things going on in California. Told you about that place. They got some stuff going on there, too, we're going to delve into when we come back after this break. You're listening to Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS. Attention contractors, it's me, Citizen Hughes. Tracking key performance indicators is one of the hardest parts of running a contracting business. I should know, I have a small business. Improving KPIs is even harder. Well, ServiceTitan is here to change all of them. The smartest contractors are using ServiceTitan's powerful all-in-one software to gain new levels of insight into their operation. Today, every job generates hundreds of data points. ServiceTitan connects the dots in real time to give you a crystal clear picture of your business from job cost to revenue to employees' effectiveness and more. There's a reason the most successful contractors use ServiceTitan. It was born in the trades and it will supercharge your workflow and transform the way you do business. In the age of big data, ServiceTitan is not a software platform. It's the technology partner you need to help your business thrive. Your office will love it, your technicians will love it, so will your customers. Schedule your demo today at ServiceTitan.com. That's ServiceTitan.com.
It's the Marketers Report. Today, Kate Cronin, Chief Brand Officer of Moderna, tells us about the advantages the speed of audio production affords their growing tech company.
At Moderna, we have a mindset saying that we pivot fearlessly. And I think with audio, you can pivot fearlessly. You can go where the news is and bring in content that perhaps you didn't have a few weeks earlier. It's less 6 months in advance or 3 months in advance when you do a TBC. You're able to create really nimble content, which I think in this day and age, and particularly at Moderna, where we have new information coming out on a regular basis, being able to feed that information to the audio format makes being nimble and pivoting easy.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia gives marketers access to all, from national to local, every audience, live conversations, trusted influencers, and the insights and data you need to grow. Not just a media company, iHeartMedia is your access company. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartResults.com.
Slightly by now, it's sponsored by Triton Wealth. It's 4:32. Here with this hour, we're learning more about the suspect killed in a provoked shooting. In a statement issued by the FBI, 75-year-old Craig Robinson resisted arrest as agents say they attempted to take him into custody at his Provo home. According to agents, Robertson pointed a revolver at them last week. It was in connection with online threats the suspect is accused of making against President Biden and other law enforcement before the president visited Utah last Friday. The family of a 3-year-old Salt Lake City boy killed while boating with his family at Echo Reservoir in Summit County now issued a statement today following his tragic death Sunday, saying they're devastated having to say goodbye to their darling Walter so unexpectedly. Utah State Park officials say Walter Greer, who was wearing a life vest, fell from the boat and was struck by the propeller.
This is just the last thing a family wants to see happen. when they come to a reservoir or a state park or anything like that.
Park official Devon Chavez says while an investigation is underway, it appears to be simply a tragic accident. UDOT announcing today a new project aimed at making it easier for drivers to see road striping on freeways, especially in bad weather like rain.
Hoping that we can find the materials that last the longest and reflect the best, so that we won't have to do this more often. That's going to save taxpayers money and again, hopefully save lives.
Governor Spencer Cox today saying snowplows and solid breaks down the reflective qualities in current road paint. The new product expected to solve that problem. The stripes are longer and wider and very visible. They'll be expanded to sections of I-15, I-80 and SR201 in Salt Lake, Davis, Tooele and Summit counties. KNRS News at the top and bottom of the hour, anytime at knrs.com.
From the law offices of Jordan F. Wilcox, TaxHelpUT.com Traffic Operations Center.
There's stop-and-go traffic on South Mountain View Corridor southbound between 21st South Freeway and 35th South. There's a fender bender on Redwood Road southbound at 90th South. Looking on to I-215 southbound at Redwood Road on the East Belt, there's a wreck there. And on to I-15 southbound, there's a few accidents, one after 45th South, the other after Layton Parkway, and lastly after Antelope.
This report is sponsored by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. Hey, Salt Lake City, want to look sharp, shop smart, and take care of your eyes? Visit America's Best for a professional comprehensive eye exam plus 2 pairs of glasses starting at just $79.95. Buy online or book an exam at americasbest.com. That's americasbest.com.
From the Any Hour Services Electrical, Plumbing, Heating, and Air Weather Center.
Hot temperatures are in the forecast for the Wasatch Front this week. Highs today in the mid-90s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy, 96 for your Tuesday. Could see a stray thunderstorm around Utah County. Partly cloudy on Wednesday, 97 degrees, and near 100 by Thursday. I'm meteorologist Chase Thomason for KUTV 2 News.
This report is sponsored by Discover. Discover credit cards do something pretty awesome. At the end of your first year, they automatically double all the cash back you've earned. That's right, everything you've earned doubled. The cash back from trips, restaurants, all doubled. Seriously, those see terms and check it out for yourself at discover.com/match.
Increase your vehicle's performance and gas mileage with Lucas Fuel Treatment at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply add it to your tank at your next fill-up to eliminate carbon and varnish deposits. Right now, get 2 bottles of Lucas Fuel Treatment for $10. See store for details. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store or shop online at O'ReillyAuto.com.
Auto Parts. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal. Income may be subject to state, local, or federal alternative minimum tax.
The stock market dropping by
The Federal Reserve raised interest rates.
Let's face it, investing can feel pretty scary and overwhelming these days, especially if you're retired or close to retirement, which is why you should consider investing in municipal bonds from Henny & Walsh. Municipal bonds can provide a source of federally tax-free retirement income, plus an investment in municipal bonds is an investment in America. Municipal bonds help finance major civil projects across the country, like the Golden Gate Bridge and Hoover Dam, as well as local roads, bridges, and schools. Call 1-800-761-9761 right now for our informative free bond guide and learn how you can earn tax-free retirement income while investing in America's future. Just dial 1-800-761-9761 for the free Henny & Walsh bond guide. There's no cost and no obligation. 1-800-761-9761.
Henny & Walsh, member of FINRA and SIPC.
Honey, is our car still under warranty?
No, not anymore.
My sister just got an extended service plan from Ox Car Care.
Ox Car Care?
Yeah, Ox will cover our repair bills if anything happens to our car, new brakes, a transmission, AC, or engine problems. Plus, Ox Car Care offers free oil changes, tire rotation, and roadside assistance.
Wait a minute, we pay nothing on the repairs? Ox gets it fixed for us? Free oil changes, free tire rotation, and free roadside assistance? What's the number?
800-230-3989. Ox has a 30-day money-back guarantee and an A-plus rating with the Better Business Bureau. They handle their claims from start to finish, unlike other warranty companies. We should call now. 800-230-3989.
The last thing we need is an unexpected car repair bill. I'm calling Ox Car Care now.
Call Ox Car Care for your free quote. 800-230-3989. Ask about senior and military discounts. Don't get stuck with a major car repair bill. Call Ox Oxcart 800-230-3989 or oxcarcare.com.
Quality and excellence. S&S Roofing. It's what they've strived for every day for decades. That's why they become Utah's #1 roofing company, providing quality workmanship on every roof they install. And they deliver this quality for the best value you'll find in Utah. So if your roof needs replacement or repair, trust the pros at S&S Roofing. For a free bid, call them today by dialing pound 250, then say the keywords S&S Roofing. That's pound 250, then say S&S Roofing.
Hear the latest news from the headlines on your phone. Download the free iHeartRadio app for exclusive live coverage of breaking news. From what's happening where you live, what's happening across the country, live from the center of the story. Listen for free, anywhere, anytime. Download the free iHeartRadio app today.
It's hard to get him excited about anything, but maybe filling in for Rod today will do the trick. Guest hosting for Rod, Greg Hughes.
Welcome back. Citizen Greg Hughes, Citizen Hughes Show. Filling in for Rod Arquette. He is taking some time off this week. I'll be here today, tomorrow, Wednesday. We just had a great discussion with the Oklahoma State Superintendent Brian Peters. Wrote an article about critical race theory. It's still alive and well, and it's scary to hear him. He used to be a history teacher. Loves civics education, talking about our founding documents. And what he's finding in Oklahoma and even in education across the country is that there is a trend and movement to stop teaching the founding documents of our Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and to say, hey, we're not all creating. We're not, it's regardless of race, color, or creed, it's all about race, color, or creed. You either are an oppressor or the oppressed, and your future, good or bad, depends solely on the color of your skin or nation of origin, which is anathema, frankly, to the American dream and this country and all that it stands for. And so I'm glad he's calling it out, gave us some things to do. Oklahoma, they are banning, just like they did in the National Defense Bill for schools that teach servicemen, women's children, certain things they are not allowed to do, which is critical race theory in essence. They banned that in Oklahoma. It's a good way to start. And they warned us, as teachers unions. They're pretty powerful. They're going to hate it. They're going to come after you or complain about doing it. And that for me is familiar. That's familiar ground. I've seen that before in other issues as well. So I agree. But let me just talk about, so let's go a little bit away from the critical race theory, but again, an attack on these kids as they are students. So I read, well, sometimes I get the alerts, sometimes I just open it up to see what I can find. Over the weekend, I opened up the LA Times app that I have, and under the banner of what Californians are reading or whatever, which is the most popular articles of the LA Times over the weekend, this headline came up. Murrieta School District mandates a parental notification if child is transgender. And what happened is this area is in Los Angeles County, Southern California, and it is it's comprised of there's San Bernardino County, Riverside County, but this inland empire is a kind of a working class area. It's an inland port in Southern California. That voting area, Biden crushed Trump in the 2020 election there, and it's a Democrat area, as all of California is, or at least most of Los Angeles. But this article talks about a school board meeting that they had, and in this meeting, parents came in droves, and they were saying, we fundamentally want to know information about our children, and we do not support your policy that says that teachers, administrators and teachers are to hide or not disclose to parents if their children are having gender dysmorphia, or not looking at identifying with a different gender or non-conforming gender. These parents want to know. And so they spent hours of hearings. Now, remember, this isn't Republican land. This isn't rallying or ginning up the conservatives to get mad about something. These are parents. These are everyday parents. If you were to see the photos from the board meeting, you would see a cross-section of America in terms of age and Hispanics and white and different nationalities. The people that are there who will not be able to pigeonhole into were conservative Republicans in any way, shape, or form. In fact, if there was a Republican in that room, I would be surprised in any way. The testimony that the article shares is compelling. There's one teacher. She's a former high school teacher. And she said, I'm just going to quote her, she says, as a parent myself, I can't help but think how anti-family the current state guidance is. And this is, the guidance is that you're not, let parents know if the children are going through this or identifying as a different gender. She herself has been fired from her job at a California school district because she refused to comply with the gender-affirming policies. She says that parents are the greatest protectors. This is stuff that, again, we know. This goes back to our interview before. This is common sense. This isn't an agenda from a political party. These are parents that know what's best for their children. And so they have joined. There's another, Chino Valley is another, in this area of Inland Empire, is another school district that also followed suit and broke away from the state policy that you can't talk to parents. And they also passed this. Sad to hear that the attorney, that the school district superintendent sent them a letter and asked them to take it off the agenda. They had an attorney in the room that was saying children have a right of privacy that the parents shouldn't know. And sorry, folks, you got to get a permission slip for these parents for everything. So you are seeing this radical agenda against these kids happening in real time, and you are seeing everyday parents and grandparents who are rising up, just as was described in terms of the curriculum for critical race theory and our true American history and our founding documents. You are finding it in this gender-affirming care or transgender youth and not telling the parents. These parents are rising up and pushing back in real time against this radical social agenda and social engineering that the left has in store and is imposing on our kids. So I've got another part about this I want to talk about because they're going to try and take their eyes off the ball. There's a strategy behind all this, what they're doing to our kids, how they're trying to frame it. I shared with you what these parents in Southern California and these school districts are doing to push back. When we come back after the break, I'm going to tell you what the Democrats are doing in defense of this to try and stop parents from protecting their kids. You need to know about it. You want to hang on through the break. When we get back, we'll get into it. This is Talk Radio 105.9 KNRS.
This was headlines. I'm Robbie Bonner. A fake Utah doctor taken into custody following a 3-year manhunt allegedly selling a bogus COVID-19 treatment. And Utahns organized donation drives to help victims of Mary's devastating wildfire. We'll have those details in 15 minutes.
From the Burt Brothers Tires and Service Traffic Operations Center.
Expect slowdowns if you're on I-215 due to a couple of wrecks right now. One in the Murray area at the Southern Interchange southbound, and the other at Redwood Road, also southbound. Looking onto I-15, watch out for a wreck at Bangerter heading northbound. And then facing southbound, we have a couple of accidents, one after Layton Parkway and the other at Redwood Road.
This report is sponsored by America's Best Contacts and Eyeglasses. It's a lesson in back-to-school savings. America's Best offers a comprehensive eye exam and 2 pairs of glasses from just $79.95. Don't wait. Book an exam today at americasbest.com. In certain states, eye exams provided by independent practices. See store for details.
Get ready to win your way to our 2023 iHeartRadio Music Festival and $1,000.
You'll be there. T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas, September 22nd and 23rd.
Streaming live only on Hulu.
The iHeartRadio Music Festival.
Capital One is a proud partner of the iHeartRadio Music Festival for the 7th year in a row, bringing great products, rewards, and services to its customers. What's in your wallet?
What do you do when the power goes out in your home or in your business? It can be very disruptive and turn things upside down for a little bit, right? Well, why not install a Generac automatic standby generator? Check it out today from the Generator Super Center. They are the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. Give yourself peace of mind by calling right now for a free estimate. No more waiting for the power company to bring the electricity back on. For a free estimate, call 801-882-9222 or go online at GeneratorSuperCenterofSaltLakeCity.com.
Love the feel behind the wheel.
2023 Acura TLX from Jody Wilkinson Acura. During the summer performance event, lease the super handling all-wheel drive Ace-Spec Acura TLX for only $549 monthly. To receive offer details, on pound 50 and say Jody Wilkinson Acura. Jody Wilkinson. Downtown.
transgenderism. And Democrats are saying, hey, it's not fair. You know, as we push this The Washington Post does a poll. 68% of all, this is Republicans, Independents, and Democrats, oppose teachers discussing sexual orientation, transgenderism, all the sexualizing of children. 68% of everyone doesn't like this, and they think, when I say they, I mean the Democrats, that this is a Republican ploy, that this whole issue of transgenderism or talking about it is just some laboratory, some creation out of a Republican or radical conservative laboratory. Here's what, where's my friend Jerry Nadler from New York? He says, undoubtedly, transgender youth participation in sports will be discussed because Republicans think it is a winning political talking point. It also says it's an easy, here's another issue, or another comment from Democrats, it's an easy way for people to try and get points. Pick on a minority group. This is the most minority and least understood in our country. It's gone on for centuries. 100 years ago, it was African Americans. Later, it was Hispanics. Then it was gay people. Now, transgender people. Folks, do you think that the Democrats are talking about the parents that are showing up in these board meetings in California and deep blue state California, showing up and being upset about not being informed by their school about what their child is going through? Is that the people that they think are the parents picking on their kids? Is that what the Democrats are trying to say? Nadler goes on to say that, this whole issue about transgender youth, it needs to be discussed and determined in a scientific manner. Isn't that funny? Gender, does it mean chromosomes? Obviously not. It should be discussed in a scientific manner, in a logical manner, not emotions, not behavior and attitudes that appeal only to voters. By voters, he means parents, okay? Are parents not scientific? I'd argue that parents know what's going on. So, I would love to hear your calls. Again, let me go to the number 888-570-8010, 888-570-8010. This is not a Republican ploy to go get votes. This is happening. The Democrats are mad that we, everyday people, are noticing and we're pushing back. And they want to actually shame people from pushing back by saying, well, then you're just one of these